Hey everyone, Scooby-Doo here and welcome to a brand new video. Today we're going to be taking a look at our life-size Darth Vader and Stormtrooper and R2-D2. And we're also going to start working on our display over here and also be putting up some lightsabers. We're going to be talking about lightsabers, we're going to be talking about armor and a bunch of other stuff. So I am going to be breaking up this video into a bunch of different sections so it's not too long. So stay tuned for the other videos as they come out. So if you remember from last week, I was working on these displays and the wiring, so let's go ahead and get that started. Alexa, turn on Vader.
Okay.
Alexa, turn on Empire.
Okay.
So the ultimate goal is to have everything wired up in the Star Wars / Empire room and get it all automated. Now, if you remember from the last video, I removed the two side cabinets that were on both sides of the TV, and now they're gone. And so the very first thing I want to work on is actually the lightsabers, because the cabinets were actually holding my Darth Maul sabers, so I do need to get them up on the wall, and we're going to be putting them up over here on our prequel shelving wall, which is right here. Now what I use for the lightsabers is I use these saber stands. They're the vertical ones. And you can get these on eBay or Etsy, or you can actually go to the vendor's website, which is the cheapest way to go. Plus also too, he generally has sales on them, and also too, if you buy, I think if you buy 2 or 3, you get the 4th one for free and things of that nature. I haven't purchased any in a while, but that's how it used to be on the website anyway, so I would check them out. They're saber stands. So let's first start by doing that, and I'm also going to actually just turn on the main lights, which will also be probably on the Alexa as well at some point, just so we have a little bit better lighting. There we go. So let's go ahead and get up the sabers, and then after that we're going to talk about some of the Stormtrooper armor, which that's a Shepperton, and we're going to look at a couple of different helmets, and then we'll wrap up this video for the next one. Ultimately what I'm wanting to do, also too, if you may have noticed, is I moved the Rogue One poster so it's centered between the two figures. Before it used to be behind Darth Vader when the cabinets were up and you really couldn't see it. And so that was all part of the bigger plan for the design for this part of the room. So I'm going to go ahead and pause the camera really quickly, and I'm going to get up these saber stands, and then we'll take a look. Alright, so there we go. We have all of our sabers displayed up on our prequel shelving. As you can see, we'll try to get a little bit closer. Actually, we'll back up so you can see the whole display. I have the lights off this so the lightsabers show up a little bit better. I think sabers on the wall look fantastic. The only issue I have with them is that Hasbro and other companies like Spin Master as well, they don't spend a lot of time in R&D to try to develop these toys into collector items, even though a lot of them, if they're going into the $150 range, $200 range, they are collector's items. The two Darth Maul sabers to the left, those are the FX sabers. Those will generally stay on for a few minutes. And then over here to the right, I believe these are the Hasbros. I believe both of them are Hasbros. And the Black Series, the newer ones that have come out, stay on for about 12 to 15 minutes. Again, it would be really great if they did like a display mode for these where you could just kind of flip them on. They didn't make any sound, but you're able to use the light effect for these sabers. Would be absolutely fantastic. But they have yet to do that. But here it is. I think it comes up, well, we'll kind of go back here to the side if you remember how it looked before. Alright, so there we go. Now, talking about collector items and toys, there we go, they're starting to turn off. They did a skit on Saturday Night Live a few years ago that I just find absolutely hilarious, and it's somewhat true. And I wanted to go ahead and play that for you now while I'm setting up the Stormtrooper helmets in the other room. So take a look at this and we'll be right back. Alright, so that is just the most hilarious Star Wars skit. I had to watch that a couple times. It was just so funny. So now on to the helmets. To the far left is the Shepperton. The middle is the EFX. And to the right, my favorite, is the Black Series Stormtrooper helmet. Now all of them kind of look similar. They all look like Stormtroopers. But all of them vary in how they are made. Now the Shepperton to the far left, that's supposed to be the most screen accurate or movie accurate prop out of the three. Then you have the EFX, and then obviously the Black Series, which was just made by Hasbro and supposedly just made for kids to wear. But again, it's my favorite one. So the first thing I want to talk about is not so much the 501st, because that's a whole different subject, and it's something that, you know, they have their parameters that they want you to, you know, the specifics on the kind of armor and stuff, and I have no issues with that whatsoever. In fact, I hope to join the 501st at some point. My thing is more about collecting and displaying. That's where my concerns come in. And when you're purchasing armor like I did with the Shepperton, move the camera a little bit, we'll look at the Shepperton first. When you purchase armor, or you go on to the different websites and they talk about screen accurate, movie accurate, it's really deceiving. It is really deceiving for somebody who's just a medium kind of a collector like me that started out, that just wanted to have a Star Wars room. It's really deceiving because what you see in a movie isn't actually what it's magic. It's make-believe. So a lot of the props that they make, now the props they make in today's movies are really good because of technology, but back in the 70s and the 60s and the 50s and stuff, the props were really kind of crudely made, and then through camera angles and shadowing and different things, they were able to make things look like something that they weren't. So screen accurate to me is more the Black Series. Now this one here that's supposed to be screen accurate, which I'm going to call prop accurate, all right, it looks decent, right? But there's a lot of imperfections. These are stickers. Now, I seriously doubt if you were actually able to transport to the Death Star or see a Stormtrooper in person, if they were real, I doubt their helmets would actually have stickers on them, right? They wouldn't. They also wouldn't be made out of a thin plastic and have all these imperfections. Also, too, the lenses, check this out. They just push in. Here, let me get a little bit closer. These are just thin lenses. You can actually push right through them. I'll show you on the inside. They're just kind of taped in there. And that's how they did a lot of the helmets for the movie. So is it screen accurate? Well, when I watched the movie on big screen, I didn't think that the Stormtrooper helmets, their visors, you could just like, hey, poke them in the eyes. I didn't feel that watching the movie. So for me, that's not really screen accurate. It's prop accurate, yes. Screen accurate, no. So if I want to have a display, and this one is also kind of, if you look here on the side, and this is one thing like with the Stormtrooper helmets, they had flathead screws here on the side. That's how they made them back in the day, back in the 70s. There was gaps here on the side. You see these gaps here. And this is how they were made, and so I think the 501st want something more like this. But again, that's for the 501st. I'm talking about displays. And so for me, kind of like with the lightsabers, you can get an FX lightsaber or you can get the ultimate FX lightsaber. And if you've seen the two without them being on, the lighting is much better on the FX. One's made out of plastic and one's made out of metal. Now, if I filmed both of them, they would both look pretty good. But in person, right, I don't want to have plastic lightsabers in my room. I want to have the metal ones. So it's the same thing here. I want something where when somebody looks at it up close and touches it, it feels like a real helmet. So prop accurate, yes. Screen accurate, again, it's just how you want to word it. Another great example that I generally use, and we'll take a look at the FX one now, the EFX one, is if somebody was selling you a prop on eBay that was from a Western that was filmed back in the 50s, and they said, you know, screen accurate Winchester rifle from a particular movie. Well, in actuality, some of those movies back in the day, they gave the people that are like up on the saloon wall, I mean up on the roof or whatever, they didn't give them Winchesters at all. They gave them broom handles. But through the camera, they look like Winchester rifles. Now, how would you feel if you bought a screen accurate Winchester rifle from a so-and-so movie from eBay, and then when it comes to your house, you open it up and it's a broom handle? Would the seller be lying? No, he wouldn't be. But again, so this is kind of the thing that I have debates with screen accurate and prop accurate. So let's get on to the FX one, the EFX one. This one too also has a thin shield here for the eyes, but this one is actually, I mean, it's a little bit thicker than the other one, but they kind of support it better. So the inside is a little bit nicer. But this one here, as you can see, there's no gaps here on the side. And this one here also, they didn't even put in the screws at all. It's just completely flat. Now also too, just to note, I did do a paint job on this, which I would say is okay. I need to work on this right here. I did this work a couple years ago when I first started doing the modifications, so I do need to redo this a little bit, and then eventually probably this one will be sold on my eBay store as well, so you get a chance to get a Scooby-Doo exclusive when I redo this. So this one, again, this one's nice, but again, it uses stickers, which I'm sorry, but I don't want stickers on my helmet. That's not realistic to me. It's not realistic if somebody's going in my room and taking down the lightsabers and touching the armor on the life-size figures. It's not realistic to me. So now your final one here, which is a Black Series, which is my favorite. This one here is manufactured. It's clean. This here's a different material, a rubber. There are no decals. All this stuff is actually engraved into the plastic, so it seems to be more real of a helmet. It's heavy. It's a hard plastic. They did give the little round circles here. There's not screws in it, but more authentic than the EFX. And it's just, again, it's my favorite helmet. The only drawback, and again, this is what I was talking about with Hasbro and Spin Master and stuff, why they put the battery pack here in the back. I think I have an idea why they did this, because they could have put this on the inside and this would have been a perfect helmet. Again, I don't know about 501st, but if they didn't have this and they put it on the inside, which again they could have done, this would be the helmet for me. This would absolutely be the helmet for me. I think probably the reason why they didn't is because it was something contractually in the licensing that made them put the battery pack like that. Because if you think about it, same with Spin Master with the BB-8, if they would have made that life size, that was a pretty good figure that they made. It was just, I think it was like 18 or 19 inches. If they would have made that life size, and even upped it, I think they sold for what? They started off at $199, but you can get them for like $70 now. I think if they would have made them like $300 and life size, people would have, everybody would have bought one. And then why would you then go buy a life size one from Sideshow for $2,000? You wouldn't. So I'm thinking it has to, again, it has to be something with the licensing and the contracts, because again, if they made the battery pack not seen on this helmet, why buy an Anovos? Again, if you make a life size BB-8 from Spin Master, why buy the 2001 from Sideshow? You wouldn't. So I wish that Hasbro, Spin Master, and these companies would kind of get together and say, hey, look, let's give the collectors a break here. Let's give them what they want, instead of making them pay thousands of dollars if they want the exact item. So there we go with that. Those are the helmets. Again, Black Series is my favorite. I've also pre-ordered the Fett one and the X-Wing helmet. I think that one's supposed to be coming out next month, and we'll do reviews on those as well. Now, ultimately, I think I'm going to be doing a weathering job on the Black Series one for the display out there, which is what we're going to be working on next on the next video. So if you have any questions or comments regarding anything that you've seen in this first video, feel free to comment down below and ask any questions that you want, because I always forget stuff. And we can also see there the Fett in the background. He'll also be worked on in a later video as we move across from one side of the TV to the other. All right, I hope everybody's having a fantastic day, and I shall talk to you guys later.